This module is about software reviews. We're going to be holding a design review shortly, and I thought maybe it would be a good idea to brush up on some of the principles of software reviews, talk about their advantages, some of the objectives behind the reviews. And then we'll talk about types of reviews. The objectives of a review, obviously, are to promote better software quality. In this case, it probably means reducing the number of defects that are in the software. We're looking to detect as many defects as we can, as early as we can in the software development process. And also, you might use a review just for verification purposes. So you'll be comparing the thing that you're reviewing, the work product you're reviewing, you could sort of compare it to the higher level work product. So, for example, if you have a set of requirements and you're reviewing the design document, you could ask, well, does the design implement the requirements properly? Or you're looking at, say, code, reviewing the code, you could say, does it match the design, and so forth, right? The test documentation, does the test cases, do the test cases fully cover all of the requirements? Stuff like that. You also could check for adherence to standards. I mean, the whole reason we have standards and guidelines in doing things is so that we get uniformity and we get sort of promote quality, because a standard, after all, is a well thought out way, a proven way to do something. And if you adhere to standards, then you're more likely to achieve higher quality than if you did not adhere to the standards. So the review gives us a chance to check and make sure that the workmanship is up to the standards of doing the job. Reviews also, various types, are sort of management checkpoints, in that we can schedule these reviews as milestones along the way in managing the project. They will be items in your work breakdown structure for planning the project. They'll be in the schedule, and as we hold the reviews, and we can then mark those off, check those off as milestones along the way of managing a project, and you basically earn value for that amount of work that you've done, that you reviewed and approved everything. One last advantage of reviews is they can serve an educational purpose. What you'll do is if we're holding a review, say a design review, design of some software, certainly the programmers would benefit from being in there, because they ultimately have to program the design, and testers might benefit from being in the review, because they would learn about the design, and it could help them do their job as well. So a lot of times we'll have people attend these reviews, not as much to help with the review, although they certainly can offer a lot of assistance with the review, but also as a way of training them and educating them in the work product that they'll need to work with in the future. One of the basic tenets of reviews was expressed by a man by the name of Gerald Weinberg. I may have mentioned his name before. Weinberg is still around. He's still active in software engineering, but the book that this term egoless programming came from was a book called The Psychology of Computer Programming that he wrote, about 1969 or 70. It's an old book, but it's one of the classics of software engineering. You ought to pick that up sometime and take a look at it. An awful lot of what he has to say in that book still applies today. But one of the things that he mentions in there is the fact that one of the hindrances to a review process, they were talking about software reviews way back in 1969, the dawn of software engineering. And he said one of the things that will hold you back from doing software reviews is if people have their egos wrapped up in their work product. And what the problem with that is, if somebody finds a defect in the work product, the author of the work product would have their ego bruised, and so they're kind of reluctant to have other people look at their work products, because they will, the criticism of the work product feels like a criticism of the person, when it's not really. And I think we can counteract this tendency of people to have their egos wrapped up in their work products with a 3-point argument. The first point is realizing where the defects come from. I mean, work products have defects in them, and how did they get in there? We put them there, okay? We're humans, and humans make mistakes. So we have to first of all realize that we are fallible. Every one of us is, and we can build work products with defects in them, okay? Second point, we can't find our own defects, right? We can find a lot of them. So you consider this, you write a document of some sort, right? You proofread the thing. First of all, you run the spell checker on it, and the spell checker finds misspelled words and maybe some grammar mistakes, right? So you fix those obvious ones. Then you proofread it yourself, and you find some additional misspelled words. They're real words, but they're just misspelled for the context of the word. So you fix those. And you find some grammar mistakes that the grammar checker didn't find. So you proofread it, and you find those mistakes, you fix those. Great. An hour later, you pick up the document, you review it again, and you spot some more things, right? You fix those. And then you read it again and again and again, and every time you read it, you find fewer and fewer defects. Right? So finally, like the sixth time, you're reading it, and you haven't found any new problems with it. So you said, "Man, this is perfect." And just to sort of as a final check, you hand it to the person across the hall, and you say, "Hey, would you just read this over and see if there's anything that you notice about it? And by the way, if you do, just mark it with a red pen and thank you." And minutes later, they come back, and the document is covered with red marks. Now, what happened here? How come you didn't see those? And how come the other person was able to spot those mistakes easily? Well, the problem is a couple of reasons. This all has having to do with psychology. First of all, you're the one that made the mistakes, and you think that's the correct way the word is spelled or the sentence is constructed. And you're just wrong, but you don't realize you're wrong, and so naturally you won't detect that as a mistake because you think it's right. But the other person realizes that it's wrong, and they'll mark it up. Okay, so that's one thing. The other thing is that the more times you review the document, you can skip right past the mistakes, and the more times you read it, you'll gloss over those mistakes more likely. It's more likely that you gloss over those mistakes. It's like I've got a good analogy for you. This is back in the days when, well, actually, we had this vacuum cleaner salesman come to our door. I mean, it's not where they had back in those old days when they had the vacuum cleaner salesman going door to door like you see in the cartoons. But we invited this person in from the store to come in and demonstrate the vacuum cleaner to us. And what he did is he took this pile of dirt and he put it on the floor. And I said, "Oh." We shuddered, and he said, no problem, clean it up. And he said, well, just to demonstrate how good our vacuum cleaner is, my vacuum cleaner, I'm going to take yours. And he took our vacuum cleaner, and he said, I'm going to take your vacuum cleaner, and I'm going to run over that pile of dirt 100 times. Okay, so he turned it on, and he ran over it 1, 2, and he counted 1, 2, 3, 4, on up to 100 times, running over that same pile of dirt. Okay. Now our vacuum cleaner had one of those rotating brush thingies in the unit, and we thought, man, that's got to be great. He's got to clean up all that dirt. No problem. And so he said, well, to demonstrate how ineffective your vacuum cleaner was and how great mine is, he said, I'm going to put a brand new filter in my vacuum cleaner. And he did that, and he said, I'm going to run over that same pile of dirt 5 times, just 5 times. Okay, he did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then he opened up the vacuum cleaner and showed us how much dirt his vacuum cleaner had picked up. And it was amazing, amazing demonstration. Turns out we didn't buy the vacuum cleaner. I don't remember exactly why, but it wasn't until after he had gone that I realized what he had done. When he ran over the dirt with our vacuum cleaner, because it had that rotating brush, he ran, oh, by the way, the 100 times, it's all in the same direction, back and forth and along the same direction. Right? What happened was, because that rotating brush thing, it sort of folded the nap of the carpet down over top of the dirt. Right? So the first 5 or so times that he ran over the pile of dirt, it brushed the nap of the carpet down on top of the dirt. And so the remainder of those 100 times, the vacuum couldn't get at the dirt that was hiding underneath the fibers of the carpet, the nap of the carpet. And when he ran his vacuum cleaner over that spot, he ran it in the opposite direction. So the first couple of times that he ran his vacuum cleaner over the spot, it picked up the nap of the carpet, exposed the dirt, and his vacuum cleaner was able to pick that dirt up, suck up the dirt. Pretty amazing. It's a pretty clever demonstration. So what does that have to do with what egoless programming is? Well, it sort of is an analogy to the fact that we can read over the same document over and over and over and over again, and the more times we read over it and don't spot the mistakes, the less likely it is for us to find our own mistakes. Somebody else has to come in, from a different direction, and they will be able to spot those mistakes, pretty easily. Well, we talked about this before, right? The length of time that a defect remains in the product, okay, affects how expensive it is to detect and fix the defect. Okay? Mainly to fix the defect, really. Okay, so the delta t here, the delta time, is the time in between when you inject a defect and you find it and fix it. And the longer the delta t, the more expensive it is. As a matter of fact, this is an exponential growth rate. So what does that tell us about how we should go about finding defects? We should find the defects, we would hope to find the defects as early as we can, and fix them as early as we can when it's cheaper. So we'd like to live down here in this end of the curve rather than out here in this end of the curve where it's real expensive. Now, in the old waterfall process model, when did we find defects? We found them in the testing phase, which was at the end of the project. So if we made a defect real early in the project and we didn't find it until the testing phase, we were out here, and it was very, very expensive to find and fix those defects. That is sort of the motivation why we need a review process to find those defects as early as we can and when it's real cheap to fix them.